Hello, my name is Natasha Sabatos, and I'll be your host for today's webinar. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining AI Chatbots Threat Opportunity webinar. I would like to remind you that this webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be made available on the webinar's web page. Before we start, I would like to introduce a little bit about MDPI. MDPI is a scholarly open access publishing, has supported academic communities since 1996. Based in Basel, Switzerland, MDPI has the mission to foster open scientific exchange in all forms across all disciplines. Our 427 diverse and open access journals, including 418 peer-reviewed journals and 9 conference journals, are supported by more than 150,000 academic experts who share our mission, values, and commitment to providing high-quality service for our authors. Today's webinar is co-organized by 10 different journals: AI, algorithms, big data and cognitive computing, computers, education sciences, future internet, informatics, information, languages, and publications journal. This is the timeline of today's webinar, and after each speaker presentation, we will have Q&A session. I would like to ask attendees to please post your questions in the Q&A box, not in the main chat, and also to remember to add the name of the person to whom you are addressing your question. Thank you. If you are interested in submitting your research to a topic that is linked to the topic of the webinar, please visit the website below for more information. Now, I would like to introduce chair and speakers of this webinar. Firstly, Dr. Hossein Hassani from Webster University, Vienna. Dr. Hassani is a highly ranked researcher with several national and international awards. He is one of the world's top 1% scientists from a range of academic backgrounds, as indicated by the official 2022 Elsevier and Stanford University ranking. Dr. Hassani's expertise is evident in his significant contributions to research, as demonstrated by his publication of more than 200 high-quality journal papers in various disciplines. Dr. Hassani has an I-10 index of over 100 and age index of over 40 and is in the top 98% on ResearchGate. Dr. Chun Kwan Lo is an assistant professor in the Department of Mathematics and Information Technology at the Education University of Hong Kong. His main research interests are mathematics education, technology-enhanced learning, student engagement, teacher professional development, and recently ChatGPT. And Dr. Jamie F. Cardenas Garcia is a researcher at the University of Maryland, Baltimore County, associated with the Department of Mechanical Engineering. His degrees are from the University of Maryland in College Park. Texas Tech University was his academic home for many years, and research interests revolve around the application of info-autopoiesis, information self-creation to all fields of knowledge. Thank you. I would like to give my word now to Dr. Hassani.
Thank you very much, Natasha. I hope that you can hear me loud and clear. Thank you very much. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to our colleagues, participants. I know that from around the world you have joined, which is greatly appreciated for this very hot and timely topic. I've been surrounded by very highly skilled speaker, which is a difficult task to me to chair this session. My gratitude goes to MDPI, which I had one slide to thank them, but I cannot thank them enough for organizing this, and also appreciate the 10 journal that mentioned by Natasha about these topics. I really appreciate the editor of those journals and also the colleagues and a scholar by submitting their paper, and also all the relevant information regarding the ChatGPT. The today's session regarding ChatGPT the work started many days and weeks ago, how we can come up with the different idea. And as you can see, one of the speakers in this session, I'm from Europe, sitting in Austria, our colleagues and a speaker, Dr. Lu from the Singapore, I do believe, which is a different part of the world, and also my colleague Jamie joining from US, I do believe, and therefore you will see that we cover around the world and try to share our knowledge with you. And also appreciate if we can have an interactive version after each speaker. We give 10 minutes Q&A. I myself try to have a short presentation to leave more time for Q&A. If you permit me, let me share my presentation with you so we can officially start this session. Again, thank you, Natasha, for the short introduction. If any of you, now I'm sitting on a chair as a speaker, if any of you would like to have more information about what I've done in terms of publication, in terms of various fields, and also area that I'm working, I would like to invite you to look at my either ResearchGate in terms of publication or the for short news and publication, LinkedIn or Twitter, which is linked to LinkedIn as well. If you would like to contact me, my email address is there for any further clarification, and also joint work and publication as well. So the session today, we are talking about ChatGPT, chatbot, and also what's the opportunity, what's the benefit we can get from this new novel area, software, tools, what we call it. Well, we have to look at this issue from the different prospect, perhaps different glass we should have. The technology came to us many years ago, and always we have adapted ourselves with the technology. It's not only education or scientific work, in all aspects of the industry and sector have been attached and merged with the new technology. And in fact, technology helps us to go through various challenges. And I'm sure that this time as well, with this disruption technology, we will come out better than before, and we adapt ourselves as well. My involvement with the ChatGPT and different various AI or AI languages for the education started with the publication with my co-author, Emmanuel Silva, about what ChatGPT can bring for us, particularly for data science. And we publish our paper in the Big Data and Cognitive Computing in one of the great publication of MDPI. We share what ChatGPT brings for us, and also any other AI languages or tools, particularly for data science, the error, the mistake that it possibly can bring for students to use this, but also the opportunity. And today I will share you those challenge, benefit, advantage, and also threat, if we call it, for us. In terms of interest over time, let's look at this. So when the issue of ChatGPT particularly came in, announced that we can use the ChatGPT, we look at this trend over the time using the Google search engine. Particularly my interest was to look at those researchers, those as a human also, in the keyword, using the keyword, particularly ChatGPT, using the search engine. You can see that pattern significantly increasing till around end of March, we hit the 100% in terms of rank. It goes down after that. And this is typical. We know that when we have a new topics, it gives more and more interest. At some point would be plateau and then downward trend started. Two, we have a new topics. But at the same time, for me, it was quite interesting to look at the countries that they look at this as well. So the China is a country that many of these search, it hits, and also the majority of search compared to others, we could see it in the worldwide as well. Then the other countries, of course, goes after China. Those countries that you could see in terms of gray, with little number, or few number that we had, little information, therefore we cannot produce those charts as well. So that gives us the overview of the search term started, and they're using the Google. Of course, there are various platforms they could search, but this gives you general picture, not from scientific point of view, which I will share with you later on, from scientific point of view and involvement and engagement, but this is a worldwide and from different audience. It could be students at the school, it could be teacher, it could be scientific, it could be someone as a driver, someone working in the factory, and any other job as well. So that's a general view. But recently, I'm sure maybe perhaps some of you heard about the Harvard University new announcement that from the next semester, they announced that they have part of the AI algorithm as a chatbot, part of the session as well. So to me, it's like a university professor now has been substituted with robots. And they clearly announced this, I use the word as well, that they would like to have it part of the education enhancement, because we always, as a university professor, we try to bring technology part of the curriculum, part of the course as well. It's like, I'm say 20 years ago, 30 years ago, we didn't have a computer, or as it is, as currently we are using part of the course, but now they're trying to bring the chat. So you will see that the ChatGPT or AI chatbot started many months ago, but now goes seriously to the curriculum or to the part of the course as well. And that's by one of the leading universities in the world, officially has been announced that is part of it now. So that gives us opportunity to look at the pros and cons for this timely. So at the same time, enhancing learning experience, for sure, that any AI-related chatbot that offer personalized and also looking at the what you like as a learning experience, providing a new platform for students to get instant feedback and guidance as well. Possibly, I try to use these elements and keyword with cautious as well. Scalability and accessibility is one aspect as well. One lecturer, one professor at the university can talk to some of the students, but at the same time, when we look at this issue, you can talk to 1,000 or million students around the world as well. At the same time, availability of this is a 24/7, for sure, that's advantage. And one of the things that I should mention as well is a consistency in this teaching, maybe good, maybe bad. Because it treats all the students the same answer, same slide in the morning, in the evening, next semester as well. That's consistent. But there are lots of cons as well. I could mention that the missing part is human interaction. And we know that this is one of the key and important aspects too. The other part is limited adaptability. For the time being, of course, over the time, these are based on the machine learning algorithm. It's improved itself to the reality, to the challenge that it's faced, and it's a learning process. But we are talking using the contemporary AI algorithm for the human usage. And it gives me and lead me, the future is AI or IA, is a intelligent, perhaps is intelligence augmentation rather than artificial intelligence. And technical limitation is one of the things as well. We know that all these algorithms are based on the libraries that feed in to come up with the good output. the ethical consideration, which is recently we had the conference in UK, it's one of the vital issue here as well. But to me, more important aspect rather than these four typical concern is SDG 4. According to the UN, when we are talking about education, we would say education for all. But when I'm talking about this technology, which are quite advanced technology, the minimum thing, the minimum element is the internet. But 37% of the worldwide population, which is about 2.9 billion people, is a shocking number. They don't have never access internet. But in terms of education as well, so we are not looking at the balanced situation, but as according to SDG 4, we are talking about this education for all. More important is electricity as well. When we are talking about this issue, about 50% of the population in Africa, in southern part of the Africa, they lack of proper access to electricity. That's another disadvantage. But let me direct you more now to the scientific involvement and education. That's quite rare you hear about this as well. So when I started this, I wanted to see the ChatGPT, like other new advanced technology or term, an interesting term for the researcher. From one of the speakers said now is a ChatGPT part of the research agenda that they are working on it. It's to look at the worldwide issue, which country, scientific or scholar, they wrote more paper on it. And you can see here the map, worldwide map. And you can see that China is leading, then USA and other countries as well. They publish more. These are the published paper till end of the May. I will go to and explore more detail about this number as well. When I look at this issue, about 341 paper, looking at this journal, book, about 533 documents have been published, which is, of course, in terms of growth is significant. When I look, because it's a new topics, when I look at the total citation is 1,362, and also I can go to the details. What about 2,000 related keyword has been used. In terms of author number, about 1,400 author, they have written this either self, just one author, or in terms of collaborative work, they have published this paper as well. And in terms of country, 87 countries the author belong to. Looking at this paper, about 37% in terms of article, 20% it could be editor or editor-in-chief in terms of letter, and also editorial involvement as well. And you can see that various version that we have, it could be conference publication too. But when I look at the area that they publish this, interestingly, medicine is one of the highest number, about 25% of the published paper is in medicine, while we think the engineering goes to 10%, it should be the maximum number. Social science is next, with after medicine about 16%, computer science 12%, and you can see that various fields, mathematics only 2.6%, and that's a variety of the researcher, the published paper, particularly on ChatGPT. To me, it was quite interesting to look at this number. Let me share it with you more, perhaps, and maybe open up new area for the Q&A as well. Looking at the countries, the published paper, United States with 173 paper is number one, India with 48, United Kingdom with 47 paper, China with 43, and so on and so forth. The map worldwide, I show it to you. And therefore, they got lots of citation, But when I look at this United States with 391 citation paper leading this, which is about average 2% in terms of citation. Looking at the which university, which is of course the USA goes first, with the 14 paper in one single university contributed to this. And then you would see some Chinese university or one Indian university here as well, but majority of Chinese, but of course diverse number of publications. And you see that all this detailed information, why I was interested to share with you, because it's quite rare you see this detailed information. Maybe my colleague from NDPI, they have better idea how this has been distributed among journals, but worldwide looking at this statistics is interesting because the community and academic community, we have interest as well, and the diverse knowledge and diverse involvement that give us another view as well. Then I was looking, we were looking at some other aspect. This is a joint work. Of course, I should mention my colleague, some of them from India, some from Europe, and the preprint of the paper you can look at as a part of the NDPI publication. So looking at the various countries, looking at the author and the say journal, and also the keyword that they have using, you could see that it's not only ChatGPT, it's AI we use a lot, machine learning as well, chatbot as well. We look at the language model as well. So it's not only ChatGPT. We need to have a holistic view. Yeah? We need to have a comprehensive view as well. So with this, I thank you. And I finish my presentation. I would like to open Q&A because majority of the question, perhaps, I would like to have an interactive Q&A. And back to you, please.
Thank you for your talk and presentation. There is no questions now. Maybe we can continue.
Well, if there is any question, I would be more than happy to answer. If not, therefore, I can continue talking for a few more minutes as well.
Here's
Natasha?
one question. Here's one question please. In the Q&A box. Are articles written by non-academics ever considered?
Yes, we look, as I said, we look at all the article that has been written. There's not affiliation for the university. We look at, that's why I mentioned, it's not only article as well, book, note, letter. We look at all of this as well. Thank you, Marisa, for the question. And I appreciate, of course, her contribution as well in this field, and I acknowledge Marisa as one of the key leader in this area as well, particularly for the education as well. Please look at her work in this area in terms of education. I think we have another question as well.
Yes, there's another question. Did you come up? Sorry?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Did you come across the research done in humanities section like linguistics?
Yeah, I mean, thank you, Yasmin, for the question. When you look at the publication, particularly in social science, we had about 60% of publication. In fact, after medicine is one of the key leading area that majority of the publication has been classified in that area. So that's quite interesting to look at this as well. Yeah. I have another question from Murad. Murad, should I read or you read it, Natasha, in terms of the question? The question is, what are the misuse of ChatGPT in research that you are concerned about? Well, now it's very difficult and challenging as a university professor as well, and to evaluate, because I hear and I saw lots that they use it for part of the assignment. They give it to ChatGPT in 2 minutes, 3 minutes. They come up with 100 pages. Even there are lots of AI algorithms, not ChatGPT. ChatGPT is one of the smaller compared to the others that they give you template perfectly fitting the idea. You just need to give a keyword, couple of keywords, the title, and how you would like to do it, and that's more concerning. But at the same time, I would like to mention that it's the misuse has been with us from many years ago when we have a new technology as well. The intellectual property is quite important for me as well. Now is a new area. If we are a better researcher, we have a saying as well. It takes time to come down this issue as well. I'm sure the journal and the tools like we had it like Turnitin, that we could find it if they has been copy paste from the Google or not, and here as well it will be soon. I have another one question. As of now, do you think ChatGPT as a co-author it could be? Maybe. For the time being, they are working on the legal aspect of this. That might be an issue as well. I have a question from Dimitri as well. Thank you for the present. Thank you. You're welcome. Well, AI for writing article, I would say I'm quite, let me be honest with you. Over the many years, we talk about education for all, and we know that many countries, they had a language problem. They had a brilliant idea, but the English was not their first language. But ChatGPT or the AI algorithm, it removed this barrier now. Without the barrier, they can express themselves. They have a great idea, but they couldn't express themselves as well. Or they publish a high quality paper as well. And we could see that even my colleagues from MDPI, they could see they had challenge to refine the paper from those countries that the English was not the first language as well. Now we have a new word, it's a competitive word. Therefore, the novel idea will lead the way rather than language barrier was a issue for them to be ahead or to compete even with those countries that the English or was the first language or colleague they could write very well. So at the same time, this is an advantage for them as well. And Tariq, you have a question about, is there a unified taxonomy for ChatGPT publication? Well, like many others, we don't have currently unified, but like others, scientific committee or this industry, we will work on it to come up with a unify as well. For the time being, I cannot see that as a holistic view for sure. We have another comment from Marisa. For education and professional educator. Well, to me, thank you again, Marisa, for even you can talk as well as one of the leader in this area. Well, to me, yes, why not? If we like the technology has been with us, and over the many years we have adopted ourselves. That's like a cell phone. If you back to many years ago, we use a cell phone as just simple version. Now, without cell phone, we cannot live, or without internet. I think over the time, we will adapt ourselves, but we need to consider pros and cons as well. And therefore, this is a journey. We cannot avoid technology advancement, and human, they work for this technology. We spend many times, university, they spend times. I remember when I was a bachelor student, we started with a very simple text mining. that we started with the handwriting to recognize the letter. And we work on this for many years. Now, thanks to the academia, thanks to the industry, these kind of technology is with us. Now we have to use it. Like any other advancement in the technology, it could be used and misused. And we need to be part of the good use of it. Everything has a pros and cons, and we need to hammer it in a way that we can use the better version of it for our life, for our education, for our children, for the society. But here I would like to mention again as well, education should be for all. Technology should be for all. Everything should be for all. That's why the 17th goal of SDG is for all. It's not for one particular group. Therefore, we should not, nobody should be behind. But within this trend, with the speed that I can see, we can see more gap in the SDGs as well. Because as I mentioned in my presentation, particularly, we have many countries, they don't have an internet access properly. They don't have access to electricity as well, to have an internet, not to have a proper internet as well. Therefore, I would like to use this opportunity to hammer on these SDGs as well. SDG 4 particularly, education for all, and SDG 7, electricity for all as well. I think I had 10 minutes, my Q&A session. Thank you very much again.
Thank you. Now we can move on to another presentation. Dr. Loh, would you like to share your screen?
Yeah, okay, thank you.
May I ask as a chairperson of this webinar, I would like to ask my colleague, Dr. Liu, to share with us his insight, his view on this particular important area. And it is one of his research as mentioned by my colleagues. Dr. Liu, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much for the seminar committee to invite me in this sharing. This is a very great opportunity to share with all of you. And my topic is research on ChatGPT, what we know and what more we need to know. I'm from Hong Kong, so I may say good evening, everyone. Some of you may be good afternoon, and some maybe good morning. And anyway, I believe the reason that I'm invited in this seminar is because of my recent research of ChatGPT, which is a literature review. I use the term rapid review here. And in this review, I summarize about 50 articles. So ChatGPT was launched last year, November 30. And as you can see, I submit this article in around March. So I review about 3 months, the paper published within the 3 months after ChatGPT is launched. And at that time, I can find 50 paper. But now, I think I can find many paper. So let me share the article matrix, the article matrix of my literature review. And you can see an increasing trend here. Imagine that if you can have the luck to get a stock, so you will be very happy. This trend line is very amazing. And you can see it attracts many researchers to download and to view it. In only 2 months or 3 months, there are 20K, more than 20K views. So you will see how hot topic it is. And what is it about? I asked 3 main research questions. The first research question is the performance of ChatGPT in different subject domain. So you can imagine that the answer of RQ1 is the ChatGPT performance in various aspects. Echoed with the first speaker, many of the articles are from medical field. So some are from social science and some are from science. And the second research question I asked is, how can ChatGPT be used to enhance teaching and learning? And as you can see, I am very education focused in this article because I'm an educator in the university. I teach pedagogy course and e-learning and technology enhanced learning. So this is my research interest. I asked how ChatGPT can be used to enhance teaching and learning. And the third research question is, what are the potential issues associated with ChatGPT and how they can be addressed? So the reason why I pose this 3 research questions here is that those are our knowledge now. So the next step is to ask, what should we know more? So let me continue. I reviewed 50 articles, and I just want to highlight one indicator here. I used Google Scholar at that time. In Google Scholar, I type ChatGPT in the search bar, and I can find 300 paper, 300 something actually. But today, I use the same search strategy. I can find more than 1,000. So today, we can no longer do this kind of synthesis again, because you will have more than 10 cases to search for. Perhaps you may redesign the search term if you want to have a literature review in the future. So I want to show the citation of my article. And as you can see, this citation number is not too many. But for me, when I compare with some other research output of mine, this 25 is a lot compared with some article that I have published several years ago. Some paper, even I published for more than a few years, I do not receive so many citations. So you can see ChatGPT is really a hot topic. And here, 25 is a small number. I want to show you some other big guy. You can see around 100, more than 100, these 3 big guys. And interestingly, they are all, some of them are from MTPI, our publisher. So instead of having a one-way presentation, I want to make the floor or this seminar more interactive. For the audience, could you use this QR code, or let me post this link in the chat box so that you can share your view. I have posted the link in chat box, so you can share the view from you. So we can kick off the discussion, because this is a very good chance for us to gather ideas together and then figure out what are the future research that we can do. So may I ask you, what are your research idea regarding the ChatGPT? So I use Padlet platform, so you can feel free to post your idea. Because thinking takes time, may I pause for say 3 to 5 minutes for the audience to post their idea, and then we can review the ideas together. Not yet have the idea, so let's see who are the first person to post the idea. So let me wait for say 3 minutes. Can the audience go into the link that I post in chat box? Yeah, oh, okay. So it seems that I cannot share the link in chat box because let me see. I can only share the link in the chat box for the panel. Can I share? Let's see if we can gather some interesting ideas so we can work together in future. About the usage, whether it is proper to use the ChatGPT. This is a very good research direction. Yeah, to improve student writing. Okay, so I guess this is from a student. So maybe you are a very good research participant for the professor. Okay, to distinguish the ChatGPT writing. How to distinguish? Okay, yeah. I'm currently reviewing an article. I mean, in the peer review process. Likely, I will not reject that article, but ask them to revise based on comment. That article was about how to distinguish the ChatGPT writing, from human being writing. Yeah, that's great. What is the future of work as ChatGPT evolves? Okay. So, do you mean that to study how ChatGPT change across time? I'm not quite sure what evolve refer to. Okay, this comment is about language. But in about language, but in my experience, ChatGPT will do a very good job in translation. You can try. Ask ChatGPT to translate something for you, and then it may give you some quite good result. Okay, yeah. Is this comment in that you ask ChatGPT to write a program, write a software, but the software do not work properly? Yes, it may be. Yeah, it may generate some code which are useful, but not all. Yeah. Yeah, I like this. Can ChatGPT improve learner motivation, engagement, flow, and etc. in higher education, teaching and learning? Yeah, this is very good. I like this. Yeah, this is about language editing, and you can see this comment. You can see people use ChatGPT to improve their writing. This is very good usage of ChatGPT, especially those are not from English-speaking country. So let me give 1 more minute, and then let me continue the presentation. And I can see that maybe all the comment, because I cannot see anyone to type here. Yeah, fun. Model fun. Things to do in student learning. Yeah, in student learning, I like this. Yeah. And finally, how should be okay. So, yeah, let me share my presentation again. Yeah, we have gathered some very good research idea and some very good example of how we can use ChatGPT. And these are my findings and my general observation. And among these articles, more than 10 case articles, many people write papers on ChatGPT, but most are opinion papers and commentary. And today, if we continue to write opinion paper and commentary, we may not be able to stand out because many voice, views, caution has been published. And if we, based on our experience and voice some opinion or do some caution others how bad is ChatGPT, we cannot stand out. And another observation is that people are finding some rapid way to publish their paper. And so I observe a race of preprints. So we have a lot of preprints in some server. And the race of publisher, those who are willing to ensure the timeliness and publication. And I don't mean to offend some other so-called prestige publisher. I don't mean that. But those publishers claims they are prestige. Actually, they do not review in a timely manner. They hold the author's article for a month in the hand of editor, and then spend a long time to review the article, and then ask you to revise, and then you revise, and then reject it. Those publishers will lose out in this game. And so you can see many publishers, some publishers stand out in this trend of ChatGPT research. And this is my personal experience anyway. So what we know are those are highly cited preprint that I can find. You can see they are very highly cited. You can see more than 100 citations up till now. So what we know about ChatGPT, about its performance, it can answer some questions well, but not all. But actually, I think it depends on how we use, how the user asks the question. And ChatGPT is knowledgeable in some discipline, but not all. For example, it may be knowledgeable in medical field, and it knows more about Western context. So you would say those are very common sense knowledge today. So they are nothing surprising because ChatGPT's knowledge is based on its training data. So the point that I want to make is when you conduct your future research, no need to report, no need to repeat these findings. I'm not sure whether it is still a good research direction to research on ChatGPT, but this is only my personal view. But if I present the findings here with you, your response is nothing surprising. So you will not surprise your future reviewer or future reader. And then other research findings that I report in the rapid review is it supports, ChatGPT can support instructor in two ways. The first way is teaching preparation. And another way is, another aspect is assessment. For teaching preparation, ChatGPT help generate course material. I want to share one real example with you. In the last semester, I have to teach a new course called mathematical modeling. At the very beginning, I do not have an idea because that was a pedagogical course given to K-12 teacher. So imagine how difficult it is to teach mathematical modeling in K-12 context. So I asked ChatGPT for suggestion, hey, how we can teach mathematical modeling in secondary school. And it can answer me some questions. Some make sense, some are not. But at least it can provide you some initial suggestion to set your direction. And then other good thing is to perform language translation, because most of the material that are useful for my course is written in English, and my location speak Chinese. So I asked ChatGPT to translate the text for me, and it can do a quite good job, although not perfect. And then other dimension, the aspect that we can use is about assessment. Instructor can use ChatGPT to generate assessment tasks, and can use ChatGPT to evaluate student performance. But for these 2 points, I'm not sure whether it is real or not, because the author of some article asked ChatGPT to generate the responses, ask them how we can use you to assist our teaching and learning. So ChatGPT give them this answer, but this is not empirical. This is only the view of ChatGPT. I'm not sure whether it is practical. So another dimension of my findings is about student learning. So it can help students in learning and assessment. So how ChatGPT can help student learning is to answer their question, summarize information, and then facilitate collaboration. So this one is quite special because answer question, ChatGPT can answer everyone's question and can summarize information. But how it can be used to facilitate collaboration? I remember one author who wrote the experience is that the author invite ChatGPT in groups, meaning that each group have a ChatGPT as a guide to guide the group discussion. So you can imagine that the ChatGPT becomes a virtual tutor inside the group, and then the instructor circulate around the classroom and then monitor the process. So it is quite useful. And then other dimension is assessment. It can help students to check their concept and to prepare for the exam. I remember one student said that he will ask ChatGPT to generate a revision guide for him to revise the exam. But my immediate question is, why don't the instructor generate such a topic guide for the student? Because the ChatGPT generated topic guide may contain defects, right? And then other usage about assessment is draft assistant. And I remember one Q&A from the last session is whether we accept ChatGPT as a co-author. This is a big topic, but I would say if you ask ChatGPT to generate an article from zero, from nothing to the whole article, I don't think, for me, I think it is not acceptable. But if you have some idea and you may interact with ChatGPT and seek for its recommendation to see how to write up the idea perfectly, this is a proper usage of this chatbot. This is my own personal view. And you can ask ChatGPT for feedback. For example, you post a paragraph for it to comment on, and it will give you some insightful comment. So these are the potential usage. And about the issue of ChatGPT, people voice a lot of issue about ChatGPT. Nothing new in this stage, I would say. So those are the very well-known knowledge at this time point. For example, is accuracy and readability. Accuracy meaning that ChatGPT may generate some message or output that contain error or incorrect information. And some well-known problem is it will generate fake information or make up some reference list for you. But this is no longer a new knowledge at this time point. And plagiarism issue, it will lead to student plagiarism. And the generated work may bypass plagiarism checking detector, for example, Turnitin. But for me, it is reasonable because ChatGPT is an application that can generate new natural language. So just like human talking, so you cannot catch it using the traditional plagiarism detector. Either the AI detector, I have a big question mark about it, because apparently it is some natural language. I don't know how the AI detector can detect the AI writing. They are just natural language. I'm more curious to know if I write an article and then I submit it into an AI detector. So is my article written by AI? I don't know. So this feels like what we have known. The performance, it may perform well in some discipline, but not all. Nothing new. It can support instructor, all we know, because some of you may be instructor, you use ChatGPT to help your teaching. Some students here have posted in my in the Padlet saying that they use the ChatGPT to help language editing. So nothing new. And then the issue, all we know, plagiarism and bypass AI plagiarism detector. So what are the future research direction? Several audience voice have a very give us a very good insight about the future direction. Focus on student motivation, student engagement, how it can be used to support student learning. So you can see I post two special issues. One is by me, one is by others. I want to show you these two special issues. Why I choose these two special issues? Because they pose a question for potential author to consider. They are written in question format. question format. Both are in question format. Their focus are on what? Are on student learning. How it can be used to support teaching, learning, and assessment. Change the way of teaching, learning, and assessment. How it can be involved in school and universities setting, and student assignment, and school policy, education policy. So the influence of ChatGPT on human being is still under research. We know enough about ChatGPT ability, its benefit, and its challenges or potential issues. But how it real influence on student learning, for example, motivation, engagement, and learning performance, we still don't need to. And how about the next special issue that I want to exemplify? The actual impact, meaning that on human being. So the second question is also the actual impact on assessment and the design of learning activities, and the actual impact on different subject, student, teacher, administrator, worker, and other stakeholders. So in this short seminar, I hope to share some well-known knowledge with all of you, and then we direct our effort on human being. How this ChatGPT can help human being, and what is its actual impact on human life. So this is the end of my presentation. May I stop here, and then I hand over to the chair.
Thank you very much, Dr. Lu. Please let us know if you have any question. Please share with the chat box, or if you would like to talk, please feel free. The floor is yours now. I'm looking at the chat. Let me, till we have a new question, perhaps I can ask a question, Dr. Lu.
Yeah.
How do you see this usage from the Eastern countries, particularly?
Asian.
Yes.
Yeah. It is a very useful, in my view, it is very useful tools for Asian colleagues, because as you have said, it helps the researcher who are not the first language are not English. It is our work in translating our ideas in written form in English. So it is very useful in my view.
And if I may pose another question, like Harvard University today, recently, as I said, announced that they will have, as part of curriculum, is like a chatbot, like a university professor now. So how do you see this implementing, if this approach within the curriculum that you have in the university, or the topics that you or the colleagues are teaching?
Yeah, in my university, maybe may not be very easy, because changing the course content is considered as a major revision of the course structure, and but I can see some of my colleagues start adopting AI tool, including ChatGPT, in their daily teaching. And for me, as I have shared, I teach the pedagogical course. I will ask my student to prepare a teaching video to teach a particular math concept. And I say I welcome ChatGPT. I welcome ChatGPT involvement in your child teaching. You can ask the opinion of ChatGPT to give you some suggestion on how you can teach the math concept. And because they have to present the concept on their own anyway. And I do not against using ChatGPT to help their final essay drafting, but ask the ChatGPT to generate the whole article is not acceptable. I have made this idea very clear. But anyway, they cannot do so because their final article, I mean the reflective article, is based on their child teaching. So they cannot ask ChatGPT to back up the story. So it is another big issue about the assessment, because you should know that many people are called for the change of assessment method because of ChatGPT. Yeah, because many authors say that they can student can pose the question to ChatGPT and then ask it to generate a whole article. So there is a call to reform the assessment format, but it do not influence my course, because for the child teaching, they have to perform their teaching through their voice, and then they receive my comment and write up their final reports, and the final report should base on my comment. So ChatGPT cannot make up the story for them. Yeah. So what is your view about assessment format because of the launch of ChatGPT?
So thank you, Dr. Liu. Well, as I said clearly in my presentation, that's a challenge now.
Yeah.
Not only for us, those that we are in academia, but also for the assessment, because many of the even international organizations, they use kind of online assessment. Now they are facing a big challenge because of the ChatGPT. And apparently ChatGPT answer better than human in majority of the tests. In fact, there was a question in the Q&A, text, that I can see that they ask about the implementing of this to the university, and they ask about your institution stand on this, and you already answered this question, that the approach that your university has, but you said you are quite open with this issue with the students, and you mentioned clearly and answered this question as well.
Yeah.
So I think what you mentioned, that you are quite open, perhaps it gave me the opportunity to move from East, which I thank you for sharing your view and your involvement in this new area of the research, and you have contributed, and also your view and the action that you implemented ChatGPT, your willingness to implement and move with the technology from East. Now I would like to connect this to the West to see what Jamie has for us today, and I would like to invite Jamie now, looking at the East, which I'm in the middle in Europe, to the West. Jamie, please share with us what you have done, what you think, and your view with the participant, and also your university stand on the ChatGPT and the usage, and your concern, and perhaps the advantage of this. The floor is yours, Jamie.
Thank you, Dr. Hassani. Let me see. I would like to talk about info-horopoiesis and ChatGPT, but more from a general perspective. this is the outline of my talk. I would like to, in my introduction, I would like to connect GPT with artificial intelligence, the role of biomimetics, recent ChatGPT developments, what is human intelligence, what's artificial intelligence, and argue for information as a common denominator. Then I would like to ask what's info-autopoiesis, which is information self-creation, the consequences for AI, for artificial intelligence, and then talk a little bit about ChatGPT threats and opportunities, and then summarize and conclude. This cartoon expresses, I guess, the point in which we are at in terms of artificial general intelligence. There really is no explanation as to how it will be achieved. And even now, the arguments for having achieved it, I think, are somewhat in very shaky ground. Biomimetics is the use of nature as a model for creation of new materials, devices, and systems. Again, nature has always served as an inspiration for our creations. And again, you can look at any field of endeavor and you will see this. And the last frontier really is human intelligence, learning, and also problem solving. Now, in terms of what has happened recently, in June of 2020, GPT-3 was introduced, which it writes like a human without being taught by a computer scientist. Then you have DALL-E in January of 2021, which creates digital images simply by describing what you want to see. Then in November of 2022, you have ChatGPT. This prototype really created the sensation that we were at the doorstep of artificial intelligence or artificial general intelligence. And again, this is the reason we're here in this webinar. Now, on March 22nd of 2023, there was an open letter which again called for a pause in giant AI experiments, which accentuated the sinister specter of a technology with hidden and unmanageable attributes that might be harmful to society. And of course, you can see many expressions of optimism, pessimism, indifference toward artificial general intelligence. When in the open letter, they argued for an out-of-control race to develop and deploy even more powerful digital minds that no one, not even the creators, can understand, predict, or reliably control. And they warned about profound risk to society, as shown by extensive research and acknowledged by top AI labs. And then they asked the question, should we let machines flood our information channels with propaganda and untruth? And so many other things. Should we risk the loss of control of our civilization? So it was a very alarmist call in this open letter. Again, there was a call for development and implementation of shared safety protocols, refocusing research. And then they wanted to they called for making these systems more accurate, safe, interpretable, transparent, robust, aligned, trustworthy, and loyal, which told me that people were predicting sentient AI systems. But again, this also reveals another issue, which is that it was more a matter of opinion than actual fact, what was expressed in this open letter, which certainly was one-sided in terms of a pessimistic perspective. Now, Bostrom in 2014 warned about superintelligence. And again, the basic idea is we get only one chance to control superintelligence. If we fail, then our fate is sealed. Humanity will be destroyed. In that open, in response to that open letter, Yudkowsky, this was published in Time magazine, which gets a lot of, a lot of readers. And he says, I refrained from signing the open letter because I think the letter is understating the seriousness of the situation and asking for too little to solve it. And then he just states that the most likely result of building a superhumanly smart AI is basically that everyone on Earth will die. That's the obvious thing that would happen. So again, it's a very pessimistic perspective. On the other hand, you have someone like Larson, which has a book about the myth of artificial intelligence. And he argues that the future of AI is a scientific unknown. The myth of artificial intelligence that its arrival is inevitable, and only a matter of time, that we have already embarked on the path that will lead to human-level AI and then superintelligence. We have not. The path exists only in our imaginations. And one of the last things he says, he states AI is big business and it's increasingly dominant in culture. Maybe that's why we're seeing all this discussion about artificial general intelligence. All evidence suggests that human and machine intelligence are radically different. And then we have to ask, what is human intelligence? And again, this perspective that you see here is for the people that think that intelligence is the computational part of the ability to achieve goals in the world, learning and problem solving. So they see it as our brains compute. And then John McCarthy, which is one of the originators of artificial intelligence, is I don't see that human intelligence is something that humans can never understand. So he's optimistic with regard to deciphering what human intelligence is. In 1955, there was the Dartmouth Summer Research Project on Artificial Intelligence, which was the first one to use the phrase artificial intelligence. It is the science and engineering of making intelligent machines, especially intelligent computer programs, related to the task of using computers to understand human intelligence. But AI does not confine itself to methods that are biologically observable. The ultimate effort is to make computer programs that can solve problems and achieve goals in the world as well as humans. So what's the connection between human intelligence and artificial intelligence? What I'm going to argue is that the common denominator is information. And also, we have to remind ourselves that humans are at the center of AI creation. So what is information? This is a difficult, an elusive concept for most people, but I would like to naturalize this concept and appeal to the etymological origins of information, which has a Latin stem. And it's basically the action of giving a form to something material. So when you inform something, for example, a piece of putty, you give it a form. So that is to inform. And also we can inform other humans by communicating with them and trying to shape the way that they think. So maybe this is what we do when we teach. But I also would like to appeal to the Gregory Bateson definition of information, which is a difference which makes a difference to someone. And then again, you have to, the discussion might get a little bit involved, but both correspond to a dynamic conception of information. information implies spatial temporal change and our ability to detect it in the action of giving form to matter and also in the act of communication. Wiener was also one of the pioneers in the information field and cybernetics. And he talks about information is information, not matter or energy. No materialism, which does not admit this, can survive at the present day. He was arguing for information being a third fundamental quantity of the universe, besides matter and energy. Also, one of the things that is true is that information is a most abundant, pervasive, and unique element in the universe, however you want to define information. Now, in the literature, you'll find two approaches to it. One as a postulate. So in the same way as Wiener, information is a pre-existing third fundamental quantity of the universe. But it's a postulate, so it's someone's imagination. But one thing you can do if you appeal to Bateson is you can observe that information is a derived quantity, which means when we look around, we see things moving. And we can detect differences, which make a difference to us. And then the other question to ask, a fundamental question is, are we sensing information when we sense our environment? Most people would say yes, but again, that'll be part of the discussion. So in naturalizing information, info-autopoiesis plays a role. Info is information, auto, self, poiesis, creation, production, is proposed as a general framework to answer the key question. What is the connection between human intelligence and machine intelligence? I would like to mention that AI, or even our AGI, artificial general intelligence, have no basis besides opinions that people have. I would like to pose the question of machine intelligence or artificial intelligence in terms of info-autopoiesis. Now, let's look at the mystification of information. And again, I would like to begin with the generally accepted way of looking at information, which came out of an article by Claude Shannon in 1948, which was a mathematical theory of communication. And this is how he views the communication process. And again, it's a very general process. There's an information source, which you can view this as a microphone. Then you have a transmitter through which a message is transmitted. Then you have background noise, which peeps into the message. You have a receiver, and then finally the receiver is able to express that message. And are there any missing elements? For example, you can ask, who designed, built, and uses this communication system? Where does the message originate? Who is the ultimate recipient of the message? And ask, do we suffer from alienation, an inability to recognize our handwork in the products of our labor? Is a living being at the left end? Is there a living being at the right end? Who really generates the information in this message? And again, the missing element is us. But again, we want to abstract what's going on. And one of the things that Shannon made clear that the communication was of syntactic information. And of course, the other aspect is the semantic or the meaningful portion of the communication. And he stated flatly that the semantic aspects of communication are irrelevant to the engineering problem. And again, this is the basis for all that has been achieved, for all the tools that we currently have, even Zoom. So Shannon is really the father or the creator of all of that. Now, in terms of the mystification of information, another question to ask is, do we suffer from fetishism, an attribution of inherent value of or powers to an object? that's where, when you ask whether information is a fundamental quantity, somehow information becomes mysterious. And to the point where you can ask, does information exist in the environment? And here I would like to refer to a fundamental problem of information. How does a human organism in a self-referential process develop from a state in which its knowledge of the organism in the environment system is almost non-existent to a state in which the organism not only recognizes the existence of the environment, but also sees itself as part of the organism in its environment system, and is not only able to self-referentially engage it and navigate through it, but even to transform it in its own image and likeness? How do we become what we become? And my response is that we become what we become through the process of information. Now, again, I asked the question, where those information originate? Matter and energy certainly are absolute quantities of the universe. Is information another absolute quantity of the universe? I would answer no. Is the environment the source of information? I would also say no. How do living beings detect and recognize it? So again, this is sort of to say, does nature talk to us with information in the same way that you saw before? And the reality is it does not. With regard to infopoiesis, the argument is matter and energy are absolute quantities of the universe. That's true. But information is a derived quantity from matter and energy. Matter and energy, as you look around, moves, and therefore we derive from looking at these differences except we self-generate information. Information is a difference which makes a difference to someone, to us, individually, in an individuated fashion. There is no information in the environment. We create it. Living beings are the producers of self-reference, recursive information. This is a more elaborate diagram of how we create information. Of course, there's environment. We have the organism, we have the environment. There's environmental noise in the environment, which of course we sense, but out of sensing it, we create information. And not only do we create information, but we use that information to act on an environment. And so again, there's an internal circuit, there's an external circuit. And so we go from sensation to information to action in a cycle. And of course, it's a forever developing cycle. So from the time we're born until now, when we are adults. I will not describe this process of internalized information and externalized information, but what this means, what in the action and action result, is that we externalize whatever information we're able to self-create. This is a simplified diagram where you have sensory signals through a process of info-autopoiesis. We create semantic information. This is information meaningful to us. And then, of course, as a result of that, we express syntactic information. And so info-autopoiesis results in endogenous, so that's internal semantic information that irreversibly becomes exogenous, external syntactic information. And again, this is a reconfiguration of that previous diagram where you have syntactic communication and in the process, syntactic creation. So we can say all externalized information is Shannon information or syntactic information. Syntactic information is synonymous with order, structure, and artificial creation. That's our language, that's our writing. Also, more generally, it's any object that which we can create. So again, when we take putty and mold it in our hands, we are really ordering that putty. We're syntactically creating whatever it is that we want to mold with that putty. And here, analog and digital information are included. The advantage of this digitalization is the acceleration of the process of artificial creation. So in summary, I would say that channel information is a metaphor for human artificial creation. And you can see this from our earliest times since our ancestors, the syntactic information that they left for us in caves. Also, if you look around, any process, anything that you see around you is really artificial. This is all as a result of syntactic information. Our world is an artificial creation. That means computers. That means also coding. That means our sciences. That means our arts. So what do we mean when we refer to syntactic elements in nature? It is the artificial world that we have created and surrounds us, those aspects of our experience that are normally associated with physical laws. All arts and sciences are syntactic creations. Syntactic creation is only able to explain other syntactic elements in our environment. Syntactic creation cannot explain nor create life. John Searle had a Chinese room argument. With this approach, it's easily resolved. Since all process consists of syntactic elements from beginning to end, we can be 100% certain that these syntactic creations are incapable of understanding. So computers generate AI. The computers are syntactic creations. The coding is a syntactic creation. The result is also syntactic in nature. Bostrom's argument that we live in a computer simulation is bogus, again, for the same reasons. If there was an advanced civilization of unknown super beings, all they can do is create computer simulations which are syntactic, and therefore it's not really reflective of the reality that we live. Now, people, of course, apply, if someone is neurologically incapacitated to communicate, again, our interpretations can only be syntactic because of the instrumentation, and so we can only interpret that. We can never access the innermost thoughts of individuals by using syntactic creations. Since in any case, we can only interpret that. Since the design, construction, and use on computing machines also fall under the umbrella of syntactic creations, it means that the nature of artificial intelligence is also syntactic. This does not preclude the development of many interesting AI applications, such as ChatGPT. There is no semantic content in the environment. Syntactic content only exists in the environment because we put it there. And this relates to the central dogma information, which states once semantic information has got into syntactic information, it can't get out again. And again, the arguments for achievement of sentient artificial intelligence are bogus because of this dependence on syntactic computations. Meaning making is beyond the capabilities of any machine. And again, I would say that possibly the AI field should be reframed in terms of just the creation of syntactic information. That's all it can do. And again, AGI, I don't think it's achievable. And the use and abuse of AI systems is an ethical dilemma that not easily resolved. There was a recent Nature editorial. This is June 29th. And they talk about the many issues related to ChatGPT and also AI. They say some things like, it's unusual to see industry leaders talk about the potential lethality of their own product. And again, the fact that harm could be associated with this is something that has always been discussed. And then they call for government and regulators. They must act decisively to curb potential harms, and they should not be beholden to the tech agenda. And again, the company executive and technologists dominate the conversation about AI risk and regulation, while other communities are left out. All systems and tools have many potential benefits, but they can also cause well-documented harms. And again, one potential issue is the creation of misinformation. If tech companies are serious about avoiding or reducing this risk, they must put ethics, safety, and accountability at the heart of their work. They seem reluctant to do that. They have to formulate industry standards for responsible development and undertake rigorous safety testing. Yes.
Jamie, to consider the time for Q&A, I would like to know how many minutes more you would like.
I would probably will finish within the 30 minutes allowed.
Okay, perfect.
There has to be industry standards and rigorous safety testing. They have to submit data in full to independent regulatory bodies. Governments must establish appropriate legal and regulatory frameworks. Researchers have to play a role in building a culture of responsible AI. Fear-mongering narratives about existential risks are not constructive. Serious discussions about actual risks and action to contain them are. The sooner humanity establishes its rule of engagements with AI, the sooner we can live in harmony with the technology. In terms of summarizing, nature serves as an inspiration for our creations. The last frontier is human intelligence. Information does not exist in our environment. Syntactic information is synonymous with order, structure, and artificial creation. Syntactic creation does not have a capacity for meaning-making. All arts and sciences, physics, chemistry, biology, mathematics, are syntactic creations. This is something that I think should be thought about deeply. Science cannot encompass life due to its syntactic nature. Computations are syntactic. The universe is not a simulation. Artificial general intelligence is not achievable due to the syntactic nature of computations. And the central dogma of information, once semantic information has got into syntactic information and can't get out again. This is a nice short video. Some final words. Quoting John Goodenough, he says, well, I'm pleased that it is something that is useful to society and brings people together. He was talking about the lithium-ion battery. But as I say, our inventions are morally neutral. I would say that is not accurate. It depends on, but this is where I do agree. It depends upon how we use them. AI is not exception. And again, I would like to emphasize that info-autopoiesis as new information paradigm that we can use to think about the world in which we live, to determine what is possible within the bounds of syntactic information creation. Thank you. I appreciate your attention. I'll be glad to answer any questions. Here's a short list of references that might be useful.
Thank you very much, Jamie.
Oh, thank you.
So the floor is yours. Participant, if you have any question. I had one. Jamie, if you
Okay.
can look at the Who Ming. Who had a question
Yes.
about, can you see that?
Yes, as contextualized autopoiesis, do genetics and the syntactics reproduce each other? If so, how or where is semantics information involved? If not, why? In the selected references, there's one paper which is called the Central Dogma Information, which is in the Information Journal of MDPI. That question is answered there. But I would say there are two aspects. One aspect is the DNA. And of course, the other aspect is proteins. DNA you can view as you would view a library. A library is basically congealed syntactic information. But of course, we cannot access everything in a library if we don't look through all the pages in the library. In the same way, I would argue that in a cell, the DNA acts as a brain for a factory where someone sends a requirement, and again this requirement is finally enacted in terms of the proteins which are created by the cell. And again, proteins would be seen as syntactic information. So that's a short answer to your question. The next question is, what is your reflection on change of thoughts, i.e. the agent? For example, ChatGPT generates data that uses itself to improve its responses. Let me say this. We can define ChatGPT as an agent, and again, when it generates data, it's generating syntactic information, which of course it can again input into the system to again create more syntactic information. So again, there's nothing really I guess surprising with what ChatGPT can do, but as you've seen from the prior presentations, it has its limitations, and again, it's syntactic information, and again, the ultimate judge of whether something is true or not are human beings, and of course, human beings can err. They can say, oh, well, this is true, which it might not be when images are generated or even stories are generated, fictitious characters are generated, etc. So again, ultimately, we are the judges of what happens. I don't know if that answers the question. Another question is, any possible analogy of genetics for machines? Again, in autopoiesis content, or so-called in autopoiesis content. Okay, or so-called machine learning. Okay, let me clarify. Info-autopoiesis is not autopoiesis. Again, the autopoiesis paradigm did not regard information as something that it could use. Machine learning falls under the syntactic information category, genetics for machines. And again, I haven't heard the concept of genetics for machines, but I assume if there is a genetics of machines, the humans are the ones that carry that genetics, because we're the ones that update the machines, create new machines, and so on. But again, we cannot recreate life except through biological means. I don't know if that's and again, machine learning is not a simple thing. It's quite complicated. but again, the people that engage in machine learning have to understand, and again, this is not currently the case because they have no basis for creating their machines, intelligent machines, except through saying, okay, well, when we're computing, those are like the human brains, but they have no basis in fact to say that. But again, I hopefully that answers the question. Oh, I thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your comment. If there are any other questions, I'd be more than glad to answer them.
So it seems that there is no more question. Jamie, last thought, just asking you, how do you think implementing of ChatGPT related, say, technology or theme in the curriculum that your university perhaps will adopt or face with this?
If it's, I don't know the general what is going on at UMBC at the current moment. I would assume that it can be, it would, many people could take the approach that it is a useful technology. But of course, it requires learning about it and learning its limitations, and then of course implementing usages for it. So again, I do, even though I place a limit on what these machines can do for us, I do know. Well, I know that some of these scientific developments or technological developments need to be used as tools, again, for our own benefit. And of course, there's a learning process, and of course that has to take place, and people can decide on their own whether or not it's something useful in whatever it is that they do, whether it's research or whether it's teaching and learning.
Sure. That's true. Yeah. So we all agree that we need to move with the, let me see.
I see another question.
Yes.
ChatGPT has its limitations. Do you think that the ability of ChatGPT to do multitasks in a relatively very good accuracy is the reason that created all this hype about ChatGPT? I would say the hype is really because of the versatility of the let me say the low investment that people make in using it. So again, and also I guess since people were unfamiliar with how it would respond, I think they were impressed by how it responded. And some people might have seen, well, even I think that the creators of it saw another step on the way to artificial general intelligence. And again, there's a danger, and well, there's optimism and also pessimism with regard to that view, especially if you don't consider how that is associated with well, whether general artificial intelligence is achievable from a scientific perspective. As of now, there is no such scientific perspective, and within Oropoiesis, what I'm trying to do is base the development of artificial intelligence on something. But again, my view would be that general artificial intelligence would not be achievable.
Thank you.
And again, the multitasking capabilities of ChatGPT, I think, are admirable, helpful in many instances, just so long as you check the final result.
Sure. Well, if There is one from Jay. Okay, it just.
Yes, thank you for the interesting session. I appreciate your comment. As AI labs are in a race to develop more digital minds, at some point there needs to be an audit of what type AI is introduced to society. That's true, and again, if you see if you read that Nature article, you will see what's really at stake, and really what tech companies should be thinking about when they engage in the development of these technologies. And again, they accentuate the hype by accentuating the dangers. And I think that that is something that I think the government should step in and say something about that. There's also a lot of money at stake, but again, they just want to. I think there's an incentive for them to continue to develop these machines, and of course, if they have hype with regard to them, then people will be more accepting. And the sad thing might be that there might be some ethical, some dangers for the general population in accepting these as also, Google search is something also that few people talk about, but that has invaded our privacy in many ways, and of course these new tools accentuate that, and of course somebody benefits from that by selling products in the market. And again, that's up to individuals to decide whether that's beneficial for them or not.
Thank you, Jamie. That's true. And thank you, Adiza, for your great question. And it led me to perhaps thanking you again, Jamie, for sharing your insight, view, wisdom about using AI, and a more holistic view about not artificial intelligence and somehow intelligence augmentation, which perhaps is future or human intelligence that we are talking here about, and you emphasize here too. And that's the question and the surrounding lead me to close up with the information governance rather than data governance, because we are in the digital era and we need to tackle. If there is no further question, I would like to thank again the speaker and my esteemed colleague here that they shared with you their view, Jamie and Dr. Liu. And I would like to thank the MDPI for this initiative and the 10 journal that is supporting this, and always MDPI as one of the pioneers in this. I myself publish a lot in this very high quality journal. They have been pioneer in this and bringing new technology and topics, and encourage us to publish our view and thought through this publication. Without further ado, I would like to back to Natasha for closing the session. Natasha, back to you, please.
Thank you. I would also want to thank you, everyone, for their time and for attending this webinar, and also to our speakers for their presentations. And if there is no more questions, I think we can end this meeting.